Welcome back, everyone. A historic day ahead. President-elect Donald Trump set to take the oath of office in just 3.5 hours. And this morning, we have a treat. 12 News political journalist Brahm Resnik in with us this morning to talk about this historic inauguration day. But before we get to President-elect Donald Trump, we want to start here with President Biden's legacy. What are we going to remember him for, by? What are your thoughts?
Well, let's talk about what he'll be remembered for right now, and then maybe in 10 years, 20 years, because presidents' legacies change over time.
Hindsight is always different.
Viewed for different lenses. Right now, President Biden's legacy is probably at its lowest point that it may ever be. He's being remembered as a president who stayed on too long. You saw during the campaign, he's getting tagged with responsibility for high inflation, the massive number of border crossers, housing unaffordability. Not a great legacy. Hidden, however, is a part of his legacy, kind of the macroeconomic legacy. The overall economy is doing pretty well, folks. Unemployment is still at a low, stock market at a high. We've seen more manufacturing jobs created in this administration than in many years. That didn't break through for a lot of voters because voters tend to look at, understandably, pocketbook issues, and Donald Trump really played to that. And of course, there is the lingering impression he stayed on too long. Not only that he was protected by his aides, shielded by his aides, shielded from the American people who maybe could have seen how he really wasn't up to the job as an 82-year-old president. And he kind of admitted that, gee, I don't know what I'd be like at 86 if I were elected to another term. So tough legacy right now.
But you're right. I mean, there's kind of two things, right? The economy, in some senses, is doing pretty well. He's not going to get credit for that right now. So we're going to have to see what happens. But as you mentioned, the pocketbook issues are a big reason why Donald Trump was reelected here. So as we look at the inauguration today, let's talk about the transfer of power here between them. What's that transition going to look like today?
Awkward?
Maybe.
Bit? Well, the inauguration is happening in a room that 4 years ago was flooded by rioters demanding that Donald Trump be elected president, that it's a defeat be overturned. So there's that. There's going to be a tea, which I think might be happening right now or very soon, with Donald Trump, Melania Trump, Jill Biden, and Joe Biden. A tea.
To be a fly on the wall.
To be a fly on the wall.
Where do you start?
Minutes after Joe Biden pardoned the former chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the January 6th committee, Anthony Fauci.
Correct, yeah.
And we know what was said during the campaign. This was some of the ugliest vitriol we have seen in a long time in presidential campaigns. So, you know, it's a credit to both men that we are seeing a peaceful transfer, seeing norms being respected here. But at 10 o'clock this morning, Arizona time, when Donald Trump takes office, a lot is going to change. A lot of heads are going to snap in this country at the dramatic change between these two presidents. And I call it, you're going to see kind of split screen America. On this screen, people just cheering, you go. On this screen, people averting their eyes, saying, I don't believe what's happening.
There are going to be a slew of executive orders that will happen today. We can't get into all of it right now. We are going to get into it at 7 o'clock on 12 Plus. But can you just give me like a Cliff Notes version of what we can expect today? Because it's going to be so many executive orders. How are we expected as the American people to keep up?
The Trump campaign, Trump administration, incoming Trump administration, billed this as shock and awe. And based on the reporting so far, they are accurate. 200 executive orders, that's according to Fox. There may be executive orders within executive orders. So we will be unpacking that for a while. At the top of the list here in Arizona, the border, it appears a state of emergency will be declared there. I want to add this is snuck in under the radar. If you are a federal worker, I know many of you out there right now, your job, the conditions of your employment are likely to change over the next perhaps even 24 hours. That's how rapid some of this is going to be. Some of it, however, will be held up in the courts. It may not be
Yeah.
his face.
Well, we talked about that. One of his plans was to kind of reimagine what the workforce is going to do, which is what you're talking about here. And then coming up at 7 o'clock on 12 Plus, I wanted to dive deeper with you about those impacts with Arizona, because a lot of what he ran on are issues that was important to Arizona voters. And we're going to talk about how Mexico is the #1 trading partner with the state. And so there could be some big impacts there. So Brahm, stick around. We appreciate that. He's going to be joining us at 7 o'clock with a deeper dive into this. So make sure you have 12 Plus downloaded on your Roku, Apple TV, or Fire TV devices right now, so you don't miss out on more on this conversation, because Brahm has covered it all for so long. And that's why we love to have him here with us on 12 News. And we're going to share more of that conversation at 7.